Let's talk now about the happiness levels in South Africa following these elections. The happiness index previously showed there was a good energy ahead of the recent polls. Well, is the mood still positive post-elections? Let's get an update. We're joined by UJ Wellbeing Economist Talita Greyling. Talita, good morning. Says we did speak a couple of days before the election. We were gauging whether South Africans were happy, how they were feeling. So very quickly, for anybody who doesn't understand what the happiness index is, a quick idea of what it is and what you were looking for when it came to the election.
So the happiness index is an economic indicator, a hard economic indicator. So what we have is, if you say as a government, I want to increase the quality of life or well-being of the people, it's a very elusive concept. And up to now it was measured by a hardcore measure, income. And what has been found by scientists is this doesn't give you a true reflection of the temperature of the economy. So we have to bring in the personal, the rational, the human side. And this is what we are measuring. We are measuring the human side of economics, the mood, and that gives you a much better reflection. And this is something that actually no government can go without. We need this measure.
So, I mean, many will say, okay, we were looking at the results tell us whether South Africans are happy or not and how they voted. Does this tally with what you found when it came to elections and the happiness index?
You know what, it's amazing because I'm working with this whole time, real time. This is also the uniqueness of this index. It's not that it's the first time happiness is measured, but I think one of the first time it can be measured real time. And as we look at it, it's just amazing the correlation between what is happening and what is happening in our index.
Give us some idea of what you saw to prove that.
If I just take it up, from Monday before the elections, we found really a slump in the happiness. And you could see the type of tweets, because we measured with tweets, big data, and we could see that there's some concern about what's going to happen in the election. And we measured on a rate between 1 and 10, 5 being 0. On Monday, it was around about 6.1. So that's relatively low. And then on Tuesday, we found it was picking up. It went up to 6.19. And then you could feel that political energy coming in and some excitement. And on election day, it was 6.48, which is a relatively high measure. And the whole day, we followed it hour by hour. And you could see also the pattern was different. Normally you're happy early in the morning, that's what we find. And it was a longer period. It started earlier, 4 o'clock, and then it stayed longer, up to about 10. And then we saw in the evening as well, there was a longer happiness period, and in general, a higher happiness.
Are you able to pinpoint what it is that is making people happy at those times, or what it was over the past 5 days that pleased them?
What's interesting, all right, we are looking at tweets. So what we can look is what people tweet about at those certain times. And that's about what we can analyze. So we've got a very good idea on what they're tweeting and what is in their minds and what they are speaking about. And
you also look at this in relation to the economy. So give us some idea of what we're seeing, because we saw on election day, we saw the rand, responding very well, even since results have come out as well. So, but from South Africans themselves, how are they feeling?
You know what? If you sit there, and I work with numbers, I'm an econometrician, so if you see this index, and then we start measuring it and comparing it to financial markets. Now, what we did is we took 3 indicators on the financial market, which is the all-share index, which is basically stocks, and then we took the R168, which is the capital market, and then we took an exchange rate, so to give you an idea what happens with the exchange rate. Now, the analysis we run is still relatively basic, so we're looking at correlations between those. And amazing what we found. Now, fund managers should start listening to this. If you look at happiness and all 3 of those indicators, we found a very strong positive correlation. What that means is if happiness moves up, these markets move with them.
Oh, so it's not the other way around, where you think if the markets move up, the happiness goes with them. It's the other way.
No, other way around. Okay. So happiness leads. It's a leading indicator. And so you're playing around to see exactly what happens here. What we find is then you have to test it and we find it's statistically significant, which basically just means how much can we trust what we find. Now, when we look at JSE, so your indices, we find it significant. And if we take it hour by hour, so let's say it's 12 o'clock, and we measure happiness, and 12 o'clock on JSE, it's significantly, so we can trust it 95%, 30% correlated. Wow. And now we're playing it back, and if we take it 3 hours, the market 3 hours later, that increases to 50%, meaning that your leading indicator, if you look at happiness, you can almost with 50% security predicts what's going to happen 3 hours later on the stock market.
Fascinating work that you do. I'd love to be in the fly on the wall in your office when you're doing this. And I suppose the next step would be gauging the level of happiness with the decisions of President Cyril Ramaphosa and what's going to happen after this. Thank you very much. And she's a well-being economist. Yes, there is such a thing. Talita Greyling from UJ joining us just to give us an idea of how happy the country was over this very crucial election.